everyone. Today we have Nisivoccia coming and speak to us today. So please give undivided attention. I'll ask a lot of questions. And John, I'd like you to take it away from here.
Right. Jack, I didn't really understand what you said. Do you want us to go ahead and get going, or?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll get going. So, all right. Samantha, I'll turn it over to you. Why don't you go ahead and introduce everybody and get us going?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As Jack said, we are Nisivoccia. We are a public accounting mid-sized firm. I have John Christian here with us. He's our HR director. And we have Jessica as well. She is a previous intern and just accepted a full-time offer with us. We also have another girl coming on. Her name is Katelyn Peterson. I'm not sure if some of you may know her. She's also a full-time with us as well. So I'll get into the firm and kind of who we are and what we do. So as I said, we're a mid-sized public accounting firm. We have 3 different locations in New Jersey. We're located in Mount Arlington, Newton, and Bridgewater. We have about 150 employees here, and we have about 20 partners. 13 of them came up through our internship program, which is nice. As you could see, there's a lot of room for growth, career path here, which is great. Within our Mount Arlington office, we provide services in tax. We have 2 different auditing departments. We have a client accounting service department, and we have a wealth management department. And we're always looking to add to the team for full-time opportunities as well as internship opportunities. As for internship opportunities, our internships are out of Mount Arlington and Bridgewater. At Mount Arlington, we focus and provide opportunities in tax and government and commercial auditing, whereas our Bridgewater office is just commercial auditing. For our tax internships, our tax one runs January through April. Unfortunately, we are filled for 2024 internships, but we will be recruiting for 2025. So our tax one runs beginning of January to middle of April, about April 15th. We require students to do about 20 to 25 hours during that time frame. We also have our auditing internships that are offered in the summer. So what's unique about our firm is we have 2 different auditing departments. We have a governmental one and we have a commercial one. Our government one focuses a lot on auditing municipalities and public schools, whereas our commercial one focuses on non-for-profits. They do employee benefit plans, and they audit private schools with children with disabilities. As for the auditing internship, that internship runs about beginning of June to middle of April, and those internships in the summer are full-time. With our government one, which is nice, is there's travel involved. So you're mostly at client sites doing the audits, which is great. You're getting real life experience. You're able to see how clients interact with partners or managers. You're working on teams of 3 or 4, so you're never alone out in the field, but it is really nice to get experience out in the field. Whereas our commercial internship is, you may get out to a client site once or twice during the internship, but you're also working on real client work and interacting with managers and partners and seeing how they take on the audit from the start to end process. Ways to apply to our internship. As I said before, unfortunately, we are filled for 24, but after the new year, I'll be opening up the internships on Handshake. So you're able to apply through Handshake. I also drop my email in the chat box in here. I believe we have a chat box. I'll drop it in the chat box as well. But if you're interested in an internship or just kind of talking more and gaining experience, I'm open to all of that as well. So we have Katelyn and Jessica with us today. So Katelyn is a part of our government auditing department. She actually did try out our tax department as well, so she could talk into how trying out the different departments that we allow interns to do. And now she has accepted a full-time in our government auditing department. And as I said before, we have Jessica here with us as well. She just accepted a full-time in our tax department, and she's going to be returning for her second tax season. So Jess or Katelyn, whoever kind of wants to go and start, talk a little bit about yourselves and just what it's like to be an intern and full-time at Nisivoccia.
I can go first since I was late. I do apologize. I was talking to my boss and did not realize what time it was. So, my name is Katelyn Peterson. A couple of you probably know who I am. Used to be the president here. And just like a quick introduction, I graduated with my bachelor's from FDU this past May. And then I started full-time the end of July. But as Sam mentioned, I've been interning here since I think it was like 2022 or so, and I've been around interning at all the different sections that we offer. I chose accounting because I had taken a class in high school and then kind of really fell in love with it. And like I said, I tried tax and it was not for me. Concepts and the laws was just too much for me, and I was more of a numbers person, which is why I ended up settling for audit. One other thing that's kind of unique, I guess, is that I didn't really intern anywhere else. I kind of stayed in Nisivoccia and moved around to the different departments rather than going to different firms. And I think that has its benefits. I got to know everyone, and it was a lot easier for me to learn and to ask for help, and just a lot more comfortable for myself. But I do still think it's also good to get out and try different firms as well. For me, my transition from being an intern to full-time was pretty smooth because I was doing the same work that I'm doing now, just a little bit more internship benefits, being able to leave and work kind of whenever it fits into your schedule versus full-time where you're here full-time working. And I think Sam briefly mentioned like what I do as a governmental auditor. It's a little bit different than commercial auditing. We specifically go to municipalities, we do public libraries, we do school boards, even some joint insurance funds we do. And we basically go in, and our main focus is to make sure that everyone's handling their money right. Those organizations get a lot of government funding through grants and stuff like that. So we have to go in and we do the back end of the testing, how they're charging their grants and stuff like that, making sure that no one's like messing with the money and things like that. And I prefer it a lot because I don't want to stay in one spot for my whole entire work week. It's nice to get out and travel. You drive to different places in Jersey that you didn't even know existed. You see like the different lifestyles. I'm from Bergen County, so a lot of our clients are West Jersey, which I never had a reason to drive out to West Jersey. And it's a lot different, but it's nice to change up the scenery every once in a while. But yeah, so I like that about my role. And one of my weak skills, I guess you could say, was public speaking and like speaking out and being comfortable with talking to people that you don't know. And when I was in tax, you don't really get that exposure, and I felt myself kind of get a little bit weaker with that. So when I went back to the governmental side, I could see myself improving in that aspect, along with obviously learning more about actual auditing and stuff. So for me personally, that's why I felt like auditing, and especially like the governmental auditing, kind of fit me best. So I think that's it.
Thank you, Katelyn. Jess, you want to talk a little bit about your experience?
Yep. So my name's Jessica Coreas, and I'm actually a grad student at FDU right now. I'm in the 4+1 program. So I actually like Nisivoccia because everyone's pretty welcoming and friendly. It's not like your stereotype office that everybody looks miserable. Everybody's like pretty happy and willing to help you. There's no pressure if you mess up as an intern with your tax document. Everyone's like willing to help you and redirect you and offer you advice. I learned a lot about like the different tax documents and what they consist of, a better understanding of like your deductions and your consolidated statements. You get a better understanding of different types of forms, because there's individual forms, partnerships, and corporations. But as an intern, we mainly focus on 1040s, which is your individual tax returns. We also prepared during January. It's not like as crazy yet because it's the beginning, So we'll start doing 1099s. And my job was basically to prepare that, the 1099s, prepare 1040s, which are your individual tax returns. I made sure all the information was transferred correctly because we used a program called AutoFlow. And then we make notes about any open items, if they're missing documents, if something looks like odd that it wasn't there last year. It basically consists a lot of comparing to the prior year documents. So I enjoyed tax because each document is a person's life story, and you get to learn like tax breaks and like shortcuts, you know, like as businesses, you get to write off a lot of things. So I think that's a neat thing to know. And it's a valuable information for anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur. So of course, I feel like accounting is a good thing to have under your belt in that aspect. But yeah, basically I do like Nisivoccia a lot. Everyone's friendly. They care a lot about like your quality of life. So we have like events outside of work, which was pretty neat. And yeah, that's my experience.
Thank you, Jess. John, you want to add to anything?
Yeah, so I think a couple things, then I'm going to put Ricky on the spot in a second because he's our third person here in another different department that we have. But I think what's important here is that when you're in school and, you know, great professors like Professor McGregor teach you accounting work, they're giving you kind of the basics, right? They're kind of giving you the, hey, here's what it is, you know, either, you know, technically or intellectually, here's what it is. I think when you get to an internship program, you want to be able to take that, what you've learned, and apply it and make it more real world. And that's what we've tried to do with our programs. Some of it's because we need the help, you know, to be honest with you, because we have a lot of work. But some of it is we just think it's the best way for you to learn. And we really do put you right in. And we don't give you any fake data. We don't give you any false data at all. You're doing real work with real clients, some of whom you get to talk to. Some of whom you don't. I think the other important element too is I would like to say I know specifically Katie. I think Jess, you and Ricky, I think you guys had a little more straightforward. Didn't necessarily know whether you liked tax or whether you wanted audit, kind of what it was. So there's a nice opportunity to be able to just try to determine what it is that you really wanted to do. And so Katie took full advantage of that. Some would say we couldn't get rid of her, but no, that's not true. We actually loved having her here. But she was in a couple different programs, and so she took some time to be able to figure out, hey, this is kind of where my strengths lie, like she said. That's where I want to go. And we really encourage that. If we like you and you like us, and we think you're a good fit, we're going to give you some opportunities to try some different things. With Ricky, we would have loved to move him into tax, but he's a great lacrosse player, and so unfortunately that kind of conflicted with that, so we weren't able to secure him into the tax world at this point in time. But we think it's important for you to don't feel like you have to know what it is you want to do or what is it before you get to an internship program. The intent of any good internship program is for you to learn about yourself, about the firm, and what it is that you want to move forward with. It's a little daunting to think, okay, for the next 40 years you got to do this, and but that's the nice thing about accounting is you've got a lot of skills. You can go different areas and different places, as well. Ricky, can I put you on the spot just for a moment? Ricky's been with us for 2 summers. He's in the commercial audit side, so a different, still auditing, but a little different side. You want to talk a little bit about your experience, just off the cuff there?
Yeah, absolutely. So like John said, I interned with the commercial audit department the past 2 summers. And I think one thing that really sets Nisivoccia apart from other firms is that being that they are a medium-sized firm, there's more room to develop relationships with the people that you're working with. So for example, this past summer, they actually structured a mentor-mentee relationship with somebody else within the department. And for me, that was super beneficial because as an intern, sometimes it can be a little scary going to somebody to try to get work or ask a question to. So the fact that Nisivoccia sets up that relationship from the beginning is super beneficial, just so that you're comfortable with one person within the firm. For me, Liam was my mentor, and we're still texting every day, basically, still keeping up with each other. So it's something that will also last past internship. During the internship, though, and Jessica and Katelyn also said this, but you're going to be doing real work. You're not going to be sitting around twiddling your thumbs or trying to pass time. in that regard. I was actually lucky. I got to go out to client sites about 6 times the past summer. So that was really beneficial to me, being able to network with clients and communicate with them face to face more. Whereas, you know, maybe at bigger firms, you'll be kind of behind the scenes work. And yeah, there's just a couple things that I think really sets Nisivoccia apart from some other firms, and some things that have been key in my takeaways.
Yeah, thanks, Ricky. I appreciate that. Yeah, and both Jess and Ricky are coming back. Jess is coming back this January for another tax internship, but then she's going to start full time with us in the June-July timeframe. But both of them are coming back this year as what we call senior interns. And so the way we structure our programs is they're going to be kind of leading the interns that are coming underneath them, you know, for the summertime. So it kind of elevates them into almost a managerial role. So it gives them some opportunities to provide some managerial leadership as well as just quote unquote doing the work. So I think that's also important. That's one of the reasons why, and Katie did the same thing when she was in the program. It's one of the reasons why we like to have you come a couple of years. I mean, look, it's self-serving for us because we love to, you know, if we like you and we think you're good, you know, we want to keep you as well. But it also, I think, allows us the opportunity to kind of elevate you above just doing the work into more of a, hey, you're now a resource. People are going to come to ask you questions. You can do some leadership stuff. You can realize what a pain in the neck that is all the time too and everything, but I think it's good for you. I think the other thing that I really like about these three too is they all said to me, you know, I didn't learn this in school or in college. So this is great for me because this is stuff that I never, you know, I didn't, and I can bring it back now to my classroom and, you know, talk to my professor about it, or give me some other perspectives on the things that he or she is teaching me. You know, whereas they may be saying, hey, here's a 1040, but then like Jess was saying, yeah, but there's a life story behind that. There's other things that go into that. So I get that now. Like I understand the connection. I think sometimes when you're in the classroom, you hear what the professor's saying, but until you actually get out and do it, you don't get that connection yet as to what the real world, you know, kind of does and is for it. So, and one thing that Samantha did mention before, and I'll reiterate, and Ricky's an example of it. You know, we don't just discourage people from trying other firms too, because we are confident in ourselves and we think we are a good firm. And if you're a good fit for our firm, we'll let you know that. But I also don't think, you know, what do you young people call it, FOMA? I think it's okay, you know, if you want to go check something else out and see what else is out there. Because sometimes it fits better in your schedule. Sometimes we don't have the opportunity. You know, we encourage you to do that. I mean, like I said, we like you to be here. We like you, and it's a fit. But by the same token, I don't want you coming here on a full-time position saying, I wish I had tried something else. I wish I had done that, you know. So keep that in the back of your minds too as you're thinking about your internships and your programs. And I will tell you from a full-time perspective, we primarily hire from our internship program. You're seeing 2 and hopefully 3 examples of that here. Ricky still has another year or 2 to go, but we're hoping to capture him as well at the end of his time there. But it's a good opportunity for you to get to know, and I'm talking about internships in general, not Nisivoccia in this particularly. Good opportunity for you to get to know the firm and know the people, and that's what it's really all about, right? I know there's a big thing about, well, the big 4 and this and that thing, and that's fine. You know, I'm not going to dissuade that. And obviously I've got a perspective on that, not being part of the big 4. But I think what's most important is when you get to the internship, do you like the people? Do you like the work? Do you like the type of work that they do? And that's what an internship program really gives you. And so I really, really strongly urge you to make every effort. And I got to tell you something, Patty Weir in your career services office is fantastic. And I mean, she's great about, you know, reaching out to all of us and getting you guys internships. Ricky's an example of it, actually, right, Rick? He was a freshman looking for and being very aggressive, which I thought, actually, Katie, you too, was being very aggressive. And Pat called me and said, hey, look, I know you don't take freshmen, but I got a really good one here. I'm like, let's talk to him. We talked to Ricky. We loved him, brought him in. Katie, same thing. You know, she was a sophomore, I think, right, Katie, when you started here? Pat called me and said, hey, would you mind? And I said, absolutely not. She's great. We'll do it. Jess, we don't know how she got here. I mean, somehow she just arrived, but now she came through Katie because they're good friends. And so that worked out great for us, you know, as well, too. So go to your career center, you know, talk to Pat or whomever else is, I don't know, all the people in your career center. They do a phenomenal job. They really do. You guys are fortunate. Samantha and I go to a lot of different schools, and we know a lot of different career centers and different career center people. And I'll tell you, the FDU people are, of the top echelon that are out there. I mean, they care, they follow up. In fact, we just had another one that we're hiring into our financial services group that Pat had also sent over to us. And hey, would you take a look at this one? She's not exactly what you're probably looking for, but I think she's really smart. She's really good, and she probably could fit with you. Brought her in. We talked to her a couple of times. We were able to come to an agreement, and she's going to come in and work with us full time starting in January. So use your career center. I urge you to do that because they really do a phenomenal job, there as well. So I think it's time for us to be a little bit quiet and just see if you guys have any questions that you want to ask us or talk to us about, or any other things that you want to discuss. You want to talk about the CPA exam? You want to talk about whatever. We're open book. We're here to help you and be a resource to you.
Any questions?
Yeah. So this question is for Alyssa. I know that you're working right now during your MBA. Could you just kind of go into a bit more detail about that, and like maybe if you like you're studying for your CPA as well during that time, and like how you manage work and life balance with it?
I'm actually not doing my CPA yet because I'm working full time at like my old job, and then so I'm a workaholic. I worked full time my full college experience. I was a full-time student and I worked full time. During my internship, I worked about like 30-40 hours when I was able to, and I was working at my other job 2 days a week, so I didn't have a day off basically. And then I managed it with like night classes. So I guess like I didn't mind not going out or whatever. That's not really who I am. So and I wouldn't sleep much either, but I was never like grouchy or anything.
That's a matter of opinion, but anyway. Okay.
Yeah. Nisivoccia has a break room full of coffee, which was the weight of my heart. But yeah, I feel like it would have been way better if I was not a full-time student, or maybe taking 4 classes instead of 5.
How many are you taking now?
Right now, well, as a grad student, I'm taking 4 because it was a 4+1 program. So I did take 2 grad classes as an undergrad. And then I did have 2 semesters as an undergrad where I was taking 6 classes, which was brutal, but I managed.
And I will tell you, like we prioritize your schooling, and so I think Katie mentioned it and just did too a little bit. We'll work with you on your schedule. We'd like you to be here for a certain amount of time, but we also understand that, particularly around midterms and finals, we're kind of very flexible. We also have a thing where we've taken some people who are going to, say, like in Jess's case, going to grad school or doing things like that, who have the opportunity, they can work, say, 30 hours so they qualify for benefits, and then they go to school just at nighttime. So we have some opportunities to do that. In fact, the person I just mentioned, her name is Nadine Smith, will probably be doing the same thing with her starting in January. So, we have some flexibility, again, because we are a smaller mid-sized type firm. So we have some flexibility to help you with some of those situations. And also, I think, Jessica, you mentioned it. If you're in virtual classes, we're fine for you to take them here. Just leave your desk, or stay at your desk. Doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to do, go to a conference room, whatever. I think, Katie, you did that for your undergrad for a year or two during COVID, right?
Yeah, I was also gonna add, since we were talking about more flexibility and stuff, I started studying for the CPA a couple months ago, and they definitely worked with you a lot because we had just hit our busy season, so it was like mandatory 45 hours. So it was 45 hours and then trying to study like for 2 hours a night, and it was just like very overwhelming. So we get put with like a mentor, CPA mentor. So I was able to talk to him about it, and we went to the partners and everything, and I was able to kind of have a little bit more wiggle room with hitting like the mandatory overtime, which was really nice because you do start to get very overwhelmed very quickly with that. So it's nice that you have the flexibility to try and incorporate both, because they do care a lot about you getting your license too. So
that's a really good point, Katie, because we really want everybody to get their CPA. Jess will start as soon as she gets here, and in June or July, and Ricky will start as soon as he starts as well too. But we really want you to get your CPA. It's very important, but it's not easy, and it shouldn't be, right? It's a tough designation to get, and rightfully so. It's a very impressive credential for people to pick up. And it does take a lot of time and effort. So we recognize that. So we're going to help you. But we really do try to push you to do it sooner rather than later. We just find it's much easier to do it, when you're younger and you're used to studying, you kind of get used to test taking. When you get to be an old fart like me, it gets to be tough to have to sit down for a couple hours and sit there and study it at a book or whatever. So we really do kind of encourage you to do that. And like Katie mentioned, we do offer you a mentor. They can't take the test for you, but they can certainly help you through some strategies as to how to, study for it, what to do. And they'll also then assist on the other side with your scheduling and whatnot. So it's kind of a dual contribution that they make to you. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Come on, Ricky, you always have questions.
Yeah, no, that's, Jack, I didn't know if he was gonna say something, but I'll go ahead right now. I know you guys spoke, and I've seen it firsthand in the internships about the quality of life and how there really is a good balance at Nisivoccia with that. So either Jessica or Katelyn, if you guys speak a little more about the quality of life. I know we had a committee over there, and just some of the events that happen year round.
I mean, the ones that I went to, we had a company picnic, which was very nice and cute. We also had the golf outing, which was fun. It was raining, but it was fun. It didn't matter. I think this. Oh, and then we had like a St. Patrick's Day where we all got to go out to the pub. I forgot what it's called now.
But only if they're legal to drink. We don't allow anybody who's not legal to drink.
I mean, you could go, just don't drink. But yeah, far from legal. I know you guys have the Christmas thing coming up.
Yeah, we have a holiday party coming up in next week, and like to Ricky's point, the firm is giving everybody 2.5 hours of what we call firm time. So you can record it as working time, but we'll pay you to go to the holiday party, basically is what it boils down to. So we try to give you that flexibility. We also have flex hours. Kate, have you done any of that yet? Any flex time?
Kind of. It's been kind of too busy right now to do that for now.
You want to explain the
But
concept a little bit?
so basically our like typical work week is 37.5 hours. So when it's slower, depending on your department, it could be at different times, but you can work like through lunch or stay a little bit extra. I think it's like Monday through Thursday, and then you can get out early on Friday, which is nice for the summertime and stuff like that. And we also do like you can bank your time, which is nice. And so if you work over your 37.5, you can charge to banking your time, and you can ultimately then use that as time off because you get paid for it. Or if you don't end up using it to take time off, you get like paid out for it at the end of the year, which is nice if you have a lot of it saved up and you get a nice paycheck around the holidays.
The Christmas club type of thing. Yeah, and the key to like flex time that we do is it's meant to allow you to have the opportunity to have a flexible life, right? So if you have a doctor's appointment, you need to take it on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., that's fine. You go do it. You come back, you work an extra hour that day, or you have an extra hour the next day, or whatever it happens to be. For a lot of people who have children, sometimes we want to get them to get to a children's event, get to school or whatnot. So, okay, if it's a Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock, they've got a play they want to go to. We say go. You don't have to take PTO, but just work an extra hour or two, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can split it up across the week, whatever it happens to be. So it was trying to treat you as a professional and trying to give you some opportunities to have more flexibility in your life, which at your age, it probably doesn't, really kind of get it quite yet. But, as you kind of get into your career, potentially if you choose to get married, whatever, I mean, you start to realize, so I have a family, you start to realize you need that flexibility as you go through kind of your work life. And so we do try to provide that. We're not this, be here at 8:30, you leave at 5 and nothing in between. We try to give you some flexibility to be a professional, around that stuff. Not to say during tax season they don't work. I mean, I think it's 50, 55 hours, but they not for interns. This is for full-time people. And we have partners in the tax side that work 90-hour weeks. Doug Collins will be the guy, right? He's a show off when he does that, but anyway. On the audit side, it's a little more consistent. Tax side tends to be a very big spike and then kind of two little spikes later on in the year. Audit tends to be kind of a lesser of a spike, but more consistent of a time. I think, Ricky, I think you saw that in the summer when you were here a little bit, too, like they were maybe down a little bit, but then they spike up again in the fall and then spike up again in the winter time. So if there's ebbs and flows to public accounting that in the private side, you don't have. Private side tends to be much more consistent because you're doing a month-end close every month, you're doing a quarter close every quarter, year-end close. So it tends to be much more consistent in terms of your time frame. Public accounting, depending upon which discipline you go into, tends to be a few more spikes, ups and downs in terms of the timing. What other questions you guys have with there, Jack? Anything good?
Yeah, I actually do have one question. What is one piece of advice you wish you had received when you were starting your career? This goes towards anyone, anyone on the panel.
Can you repeat that again, Jack? I don't think
Yeah.
we heard you.
What is one piece of advice you wish you had received when you were starting out in your career?
Probably that everything is going to actually be okay, even though it doesn't seem like it right now. And when you start or before you start, you're always gonna feel uncomfortable until you get like used to everything. And that feeling could kind of like deter us from kind of showing who we are like with our coworkers and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely like take a chill pill. It's gonna be fine. Just kind of ride it out and then you'll find where you belong.
Jess, how about you? What did we tell you before you came in here?
Boy. Just basically like Kate had mentioned, like she had weaknesses, and as you work along, like you'll actually grow from that and become more comfortable with yourself and around like other people. That's your kind of issue. And then you end up getting comfortable where you are, your work area will become like a familiar place to you. It'll become like your home. So, and I actually want to know what Professor McGregor has to say about that. Like, what's your answer to that question?
About career advice? I think you want to learn as much as you can throughout your career and see as much variety as you possibly can.
Good answer.
So I have a question for Jessica and Caitlin. Are you in the same office or where are you?
Yes, but we're like different departments. So, and she's like outside all the time, which she thinks is great. I don't think it's great because it's cold right now. I don't want to be outside. That's her opinion.
Yeah, there was one period, I think it was like a month or so that we were at the office at the same time, and it probably won't be like that for the next year. So,
but we'll have like lunch together when she's available because I gotta go around her schedule.
Very nice. And are you in Bridgeport?
No, Arlington.
Bridgewater, I mean. Where are you?
Arlington, we would go to.
Oh,
Well, I live by Teaneck, so.
Oh, okay.
I went to Teaneck for FDU. So I'm like 10 minutes away from there.
Very good.
Yeah, Mount Orange is a big office. We've got about probably around 95 people here. Bridgewater, we have about 8 or 9, and then we have a small little office up in Sussex County, about 2.5 people up there. But this is where the vast majority of the staff is.
Who is the half person?
Yeah, she's very funny looking. No. Oh, dear.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
I think we do have another question. Well, actually, I do. I'm sorry. And there was some questions I had here. I wrote down. What qualities does Nisivoccia look for in candidates for applying for internships or even full-time roles?
Well, I think a good example is the 3 that you see here. So I said, look at the three people here and who they are and what they are. They're all bright, enthusiastic, hardworking. They commit themselves, to things. The fact that they were, interested in not just in accounting, but interested in learning, which is what Professor talked about. Because they came in here and, look, they didn't know anything really, and they really learned a lot when they got here. And, some of it was through, trial and tribulations, and you got your ego bruised a little bit when you got told that, what you did was wrong, right? You got to do it again, but you learn. And then that's resiliency, I think, is another, key factor in it. And I think, really wanting to be the best at what you do. And I think these three are the three good examples of that. They really want to be the best at where they're at and what they're doing, and it shows in their work, and it shows in how people respect them. I mean, look, we asked Jess and Katie here, to talk to you guys because we're proud of them. Ricky, I'm glad came. I was happy to see Ricky there. We're very proud of him too. But that's, it's just they just come in, they're professional, they're well prepared. And I'll tell you something, FDU does prepare you very well. At least we have a number of FDU graduates here, and they prepare them very well for the work world. And so it's been a real pleasure for us too to have such great talented individuals like them.
Any other questions? Anyone on Zoom have any other questions?
I have a question. I guess Ricky can answer it since I know he mentioned something about auditing earlier. I know you mentioned that you would go on like, I don't know the exact term you used, but like case studies for specific clients you audited. How far typically are those places from the office?
Yeah, so we have a range of clients all across North Jersey, Central Jersey, if you recognize it, and then South Jersey. So really, it could be anywhere within the state of New Jersey. Furthest that I went this past summer is all the way down to Marlboro, which is down the shore technically. So it really can be anywhere. So yeah, there's a range of clients everywhere. All from not-for-profits and for-profits. All sorts of things like that.
Yes, Joseph, if I could just amplify it a little bit more. First of all, you use the term case studies. I just want to be very clear. There were no case studies. These are real clients that we did. So there are firms that do internships via case study. So, and I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just want to be very clear that we don't do that. We just do real world stuff. And our primary market is New Jersey. You would never get on a plane, particularly at a below manager level. We have a couple clients down in Florida, but it's because they moved down there from New Jersey. But we really believe in, you're going to be home at night, basically, right? You're going to get to the client, you're going to be home at nighttime. So that's kind of our philosophy. Does that help you out?
Yes, thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and sometimes like I'm from Bergen County and we have clients in like Hackensack. So we have clients all the way by Bergen County. We go all the way for like governmental auditing. We go all the way to like Monmouth, and then we go all the way north to like Montague, and then all the way west to like White Township that you've like never heard of before. So for us, it's pretty much all over. And one of our farthest clients that I went to is Princeton, and for me it was like a 2-hour drive. So it depends on also for us what team you get put on, because different supervisors have different assigned like towns or school districts. So you get switched up every season, and it's always like a guessing game of where you're going to be traveling to.
Yeah, we do try to balance it for you. So we do try to, give you some close to home, some a little further away, and we also do pay for mileage, beyond what it would cost to come to the office as well. So we do give you, a mileage reimbursement, on that.
Any other questions?
So let's have a fun story. Jess, tell them what's the largest income tax return you did. Don't give a name, but tell them the dollar figure of the largest tax return you did here for us.
I don't remember the exact number, but I know his W-2 was in millions, and he worked in New York.
That's kind of the fun stuff. Like you see people that make a lot of money.
Yeah, I
It's
see that. You know, you do all kinds of tax returns. You do tax returns of dead people. You know, people having babies, all kinds of returns. And then like I said, you guys won't start as an intern, you really won't start with the corporations or partnerships. Well, no, you will get some like K1s.
K1s, yeah.
But like the simple ones to start you off. And then if they see you grab, like you're grabbing a good concept of it, they'll try to challenge you more and give you like the more complicated returns. Because I know we do the tax returns for, I forgot the name of the firm. The one that Ashley went to. I don't know if you guys remember.
Like RSM, it starts with an R.
Oh, I
think.
know you're talking about, yeah. The partners for some of the firms, yeah,
That's
RSM.
one of the big, or Conresnick. We do
Yeah,
their
John.
tax returns for those partners. So it's nice to see
Yeah,
like
so-
your potential.
Right, exactly. Just so you know, accounting can be lucrative as well, too.
Right.
if you,
Yeah, you know, you get to see like the income of doctors and lawyers, and you're like, okay, am I in the right profession? You'll figure it out somehow.
Exactly. So, well, Jack, if that's it, first of all, I want to thank Katelyn, Jesse, and Ricky too for letting put him on the spot for doing that. And I also want to thank you guys at the club for being willing to let us in and be there. We're gonna go. Jack, when's our next FDU one? It's in the spring, right? We're gonna come over there. Isn't it like in April or?
Yeah, it's usually in April, but I don't think they came out with the date yet.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so we were there last in September. And we'll be there again, in April as well. So, feel free to come and see us and talk to us. And Professor, thank you very much. Appreciate your being here with us tonight.
Oh, thank you very much for coming. And Caitlin, it was very good to see you.
Yes, you
Jessica, I
too.
will see you in a little while.
If you can take any credit for her, she's doing a great job. So we thank you for the preparation. So
I'm sure she's doing a wonderful job.
we love having her. Yeah, we love having her. So, all right, Jack. Anything else from you?
Thank you so much for coming to speak to us today.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Thank you. The induction.
Correct.
So do we have any, Joseph, is he still there?
Joe is still here.
I'm here.
Okay, and we have one more.
Justin,
Justin.
he said he's gonna send me his summaries because he has class during this time.
Okay, but everyone has to be present, either on Zoom but you can't come in later. This one, this is the one meeting the four of you have to be at. Yeah, okay, I just want to make sure we have one
And
set
then
up.
are we gonna fill roles on for secretary and treasurer then, or is that gonna be the spring then? So I know me and Gloria hold those titles.
Right, so we can have, yes, that's a great idea to mention, consider, if you'd like to take part in for a semester just to get your feet wet, it's a nice way they're not very onerous jobs, so.
That'll look good, on your resume, say you're a board member of Beta Alpha Psi, or really to get involved. But yeah, if you're gonna do stuff next week.
It's nice if you do. I'm going to. I'll put a jacket on though. Now I'll think about that. But we don't, we haven't yet. Maybe we should make a new tradition, but no, it hasn't been a tradition to dress up. So
Yeah, like I saw like other Beta Alpha Psi, like they've done, where it's like they dressed up and then the whole like spiel and everything. But once we get more people next semester, I feel like if we get a big enough crowd, we need to do that. But we gotta see everything plays out. Spring, hopefully. But yeah, I think everyone's been hitting their tutoring hours, because I know Maya put in the tutoring hours. So I think everyone's up to date, I think. So everyone's eligible.
yeah, maybe email and I'll do that too. We'll see if Maya can make sure she shows up on Wednesday next month.
Yeah, and I think, yeah.
I'll email her too. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
See everybody next week.
Yeah, take care.
I just sent you an email, Jack.
Yeah.
So I think his mother wants to come. Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
his mother sent me an email to be, like, is this Justin?
So, I mean, she's welcome to come here, but anyway, that's just send the information. I don't think you have the scripts, is that correct?
Yes, we.
So you don't need them from me. Okay. Did you guys try the white rabbit yet?
I'm gonna look at it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have a tax exam tonight, so that's been taking
I
priority
always
right
like
now.
that though, because it's a really stupid name of a town that I invented.